Ever notice how the people who hate you the most are the ones who secretly watch your every move? They say nothing, but they see everything. They don't clap when you win, but they always tune in to see if you'll fall. So how do you hurt those people without saying a word, without throwing a punch, without even lifting a finger? Today, I'm giving you savage, soulful ways to break your haters without breaking your peace. Controversial? Yes. Honest? Always. Petty sometimes, but wise as hell. But first, if you enjoy deep, thought-provoking insights on Stoicism, self-improvement, and navigating life with clarity and calm, you'll love my free newsletter. Every Sunday, I send out powerful lessons, controversial truths, and real strategies to help you level up. With zero fluff. Want in? Sign up using the link below. And hey, if you're a brand looking to reach a smart, highly engaged audience that actually gives a damn, my email's in the description. Let's build something that matters. Now, let's get into it. 1. Smile like you know something they don't. Let's be blunt. Nothing, and I mean nothing, disarms a hater faster than a smile. But not just any smile. I'm talking about that smile. That unsettling, calm, mysterious, almost irritating smile. The kind that quietly says, I know something you don't, and I'm too evolved to explain it to you. That's not just a look. That's a power move. A philosophical weapon disguised as friendliness. Let's stir the pot for a second. Most people don't actually want you to be happy. Oh, they'll say they do. They'll clap when you post an accomplishment. They'll comment proud of you on your wins. But deep down, they're watching your joy like it's a crime scene investigation. Zooming in, analyzing, looking for cracks. We live in a world where misery isn't just common, it's marketed. Where self-deprecating memes go viral, but genuine self-love makes people uncomfortable. Where people bond more easily over shared pain than shared joy. So when you walk into a room smiling, not because something amazing just happened, but simply because you've mastered your inner peace. Oh, you're dangerous. Because now you're not playing the game. You're not codependent on approval. And most importantly, you're not reacting to them. And that hurts them more than any insult ever could. Smiling like you know something they don't. It's not about arrogance. It's about awareness. It says, I know I'm going to be all right. I know you tried to tear me down. I know you're hoping I fail. And I also know that none of that will work. It's the facial expression of unshakable confidence. It's saying, I've seen this story before, and I win in the end. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was in a creative group, a little mastermind thing with other content creators. We met weekly, supported each other, shared ideas, offered feedback. Except I noticed something weird. Every time I shared a win, the room went quiet. When others succeeded, there were high fives and applause. When I succeeded, crickets, forced smiles, quick topic changes. But one guy, let's call him Derek, was especially consistent with the passive aggression. One day, I hit a major milestone, my first sponsorship deal. Decent money, real exposure. I was proud. I shared it. Derek rolled his eyes. Literally didn't even hide it. Now, old me would have addressed it. Maybe gotten confrontational. But instead, I turned to him, smiled, and said nothing. And I held that smile just long enough to make it uncomfortable. It wasn't a smirk. It wasn't fake. It was a calm, knowing I see you smile. The look on his face? Priceless. He didn't know whether to be angry or confused. But here's the best part. That smile gave me peace, not power. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need validation. I had something stronger: emotional sovereignty. Smiling when you're being hated on might feel unnatural. You want to defend yourself, expose them, fight back. But that reaction? That's what they want. Haters thrive on reaction. They need to know they got to you. When you smile instead, it short-circuits their entire plan. They expected rage. They got radiance. They expected drama. They got detachment. They expected breakdown. They got breakthrough. It's like trying to punch a cloud. You can swing all you want, but it just floats higher. Let me make something clear. Smiling in the face of hate isn't about being fake. It's not about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about discipline, about choosing how you show up on your terms, about owning your reaction and staying rooted in your power. You don't owe anyone the satisfaction of seeing you crumble. That doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you've mastered the art of what to reveal and when. Ultimately, this isn't about petty payback. This is about choosing peace over performance. You don't need to prove anyone wrong. You don't need to scream your worth. You don't need to broadcast your growth. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk into a room full of people who doubted you and smile like you've already forgiven them. That smile? It's layered. It carries acceptance. You are who you are. Distance. And I don't need to carry your projections. Wisdom. You tried to hurt me, and I learned from it. Freedom. And now I'm free. If someone has made a career out of underestimating you, let your calm confidence bankrupt them. If someone can't celebrate your joy, let your smile serve as your RSVP to your own life party. They're just not invited. You don't have to drag anyone down. Just rise quietly. Because when you smile like you know something they don't, you're telling the world, I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. And no amount of shade will change that. And trust me, that burns more than any insult ever could. 2, forgive them before they apologize. Let's talk about something that makes some people deeply uncomfortable. Forgiveness without an apology. Yeah, that's the one. Forgiving people who never said sorry, who know they hurt you, who might even feel proud that they did. People who never owned it, never acknowledged it, never even looked you in the eye again. And yet, you choose to forgive them. Willingly, silently, without an audience, without permission. Controversial? Absolutely. Necessary? Even more so. Let me start with this unpopular take. Waiting for an apology is a trap. It sounds fair, right? Why should I forgive them? They haven't apologized. They don't even feel bad. But here's the truth that stings. Most of the people who hurt you will never say sorry. Some don't believe they were wrong. Some are too ashamed. Some genuinely think you were the problem. And some, they enjoyed watching you bleed. They fed on your silence, your confusion, your pain. So if you're waiting on them to set you free, you're handing your peace to people who are not qualified to hold it. Forgiving someone who never apologized? That's the ultimate plot twist. It's like writing the ending to a book they thought they were still authoring. They expect you to stay mad, to stay triggered, to rant, block, subtweet. Maybe even throw shade with your healing era Instagram captions. Instead, you forgive them quietly. No announcement, no fireworks, just peace. You remove their name from your internal narrative like a ghostwriter editing out a character who no longer matters. That's not weakness. That's divine pettiness, the kind God approves of. There was a guy I once looked up to. Let's call him Marcus, a mentor figure, someone I shared my dreams with. He encouraged me in public, but in private, I later found out he was mocking me behind my back, said I was trying too hard, that I was a wannabe, that I didn't have what it took to be successful. I heard it all secondhand, but from reliable sources, and it broke something in me. For months, I replayed it in my head, thought of clapbacks, imagined dramatic confrontations, all the usual ego-fueled revenge fantasies. But then one morning, during one of my messy journaling sessions, I wrote, "I forgive Marcus, not because he deserves it, but because I deserve peace." And something shifted. That day, I reclaimed every ounce of energy I was wasting on bitterness. Months later, I ran into Marcus at an event. He was visibly awkward, probably expected tension. I just smiled and said, "Hope you're doing well." That was it. He looked more haunted by my peace than he ever would have been by my rage. Let me be clear about something. Forgiveness is internal. Reconciliation is optional. You can forgive someone and never speak to them again. You can forgive someone and never trust them again. You can forgive someone and still block them, unfollow them, delete the thread, throw their hoodie in the trash. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It means saying, "I'm not going to let your brokenness break me anymore." That's power. That's maturity. That's healing with teeth. Here's what they don't tell you. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. Reclaiming ownership of your story. When you hold on to resentment, you're still letting them edit your narrative. They're still influencing your thoughts, your trust issues, your sense of worth. But when you forgive, even before they ask, you shatter that hold. You say, "You don't live here anymore. I'm not carrying this pain into my next relationship. You no longer get to decide how I show up in the world. I'm done bleeding from wounds you forgot you caused." Forgiveness, in its rawest form, is the art of choosing freedom over ego. Here's the question I get all the time. But if I forgive them without them apologizing, won't they just keep doing it? Maybe, but that's their lesson to learn. Not yours to teach. It is not your job to hold yourself hostage, hoping someone else evolves. Forgiveness doesn't mean you co-sign the behavior. It just means you refuse to be their emotional employee anymore. Let karma be the teacher. Let your peace be the protest. At the end of the day, forgiving someone before they apologize is the ultimate flex. It means you no longer need their remorse to rise. You no longer need their regret to feel whole. You're walking out of the prison they left you in and locking the door behind you. And trust me, nothing hurts the people who hurt you more than seeing you unburdened by their damage. You're not bitter. You're not broken. You're better. And that's forgiveness on fire. 3. Win the people around them. You want to hurt someone who hates you without lifting a finger? Win over the people they secretly crave approval from. Become the person their friends, their family, their partner, their boss, their crew respect, maybe even admire. Become undeniable to everyone they once hoped would say, "Wow, you're really doing something with your life." Instead, now those same people are saying it to you. No clapback needed, just presence, consistency, and glow. Let's be brutally honest here. People who hate you don't always want to destroy you. Often they want to isolate you, to paint a version of you in others' minds. Bitter, arrogant, fake, weak, whatever. They're playing chess, slowly whispering poison into people's ears over time. But here's the part that stings. They want to control how others perceive you, without ever confronting you directly. That's why it burns them alive when the people around them actually like you, respect you, gravitate toward you, even prefer you. Now that's not just a win. That's a silent, devastating ego death for your hater. See, the person who hates you might be wearing the good guy mask. To others, they're charming, loyal, friendly, but behind closed doors, they've been planting little landmines with your name on them. Oh yeah, she's a bit much. He's doing all this online stuff, but you know how fake that can be. Yeah, she got a promotion, but you know who she knows, right? It's all coded, subtle, passive-aggressive, but calculated. They're shaping how others see you without you even knowing. So what do? You don't retaliate. You rise, you show up in the same room, same event, same circle, and let your energy speak for itself. Let your calm, your joy, your lack of bitterness be the thing that makes people question their narrative. And when you win them over with authenticity, guess who looks like the liar? Hint, not you. Let's get into a real one. Years ago, I dated someone whose best friend hated me from the jump. Never gave me a chance. Always cold, always distant. Made little jabs. Called me Mr. Quotes and Journals, and once laughed at my content in front of me. We're talking prime hater energy. At first, I tried to ignore it. Then I tried to prove myself. Neither worked. So I stopped trying and just kept being me. One day, at a mutual hangout, a couple of her friends, people I barely knew, started talking to me. Genuine, curious, open. We talked life, books, content creation, travel. By the end of the night, they were following me online, sharing my stuff, even quoting something I said later in the group chat. And the hater? You could see her soul leave her body, smiling on the outside, fuming on the inside, because now her people saw me for who I actually was, not the version she tried to sell. That was the night I realized. You don't have to fight fire with fire. You just become too warm to deny. Here's the psychology. A hater wants control over how others see you. They can't take away your talent, your peace, or your presence, so they try to take your reputation. But when the people they trust validate you instead, when they vibe with you, laugh with you, defend you when you're not even in the room, now your haters' credibility crumbles. They look petty, insecure, fake. Even if they say, "I still don't like them," they sound salty, not discerning. That's the beautiful thing about light. It reveals lies without needing to speak. Let's admit it. It feels good when the people around your enemy low-key prefer you. It's messy, it's human, it's a little petty, but it's also just. Especially when you've done nothing but be yourself. You didn't campaign. You didn't clap back. You didn't throw dirt on their name. You just lived well, loved well, spoke wisely, showed up humbly. And that alone shifted the narrative. Sometimes, the best revenge is making your hater feel like the extra in your movie. And they just realized they're not in the main cast anymore. Here's the soul of the strategy. Winning people over isn't about ego. It's about alignment. It's proof that when you're walking in truth, you don't have to fight for recognition. You just be. And the right people, they see you. The wrong people, they expose themselves. The best part? You didn't manipulate, you didn't gossip. You didn't force anyone to take sides. You just kept walking in your purpose, and let that speak louder than their whispers. Let's be clear. Not everyone will switch sides. Some people will stay loyal to your hater, out of ignorance, loyalty, or fear. That's okay. You don't need everyone. You just need to know that you never let hate turn you bitter. That's how you win. Even if the scoreboard doesn't show it, because real ones always see through the fog eventually. And when they do, they remember how you handled it. With grace, not games. To hurt those who hate you, without lifting a finger. Don't touch them. Touch their circle, not with manipulation, but with magnetic presence. Not with revenge, but with reverence for who you are becoming. Let your haters watch the people they love you. That's not just revenge. That's poetic justice written in silence. 4. Celebrate your enemy's wins. You really want to mess with someone who secretly hates you? Congratulate them, genuinely, publicly, loudly. Tell them, well deserved. Clap when they win. Celebrate their promotion, their podcast, their wedding, their blue check mark, whatever it is they've been chasing, and do it without sarcasm. Why? Because nothing disarms a bitter person faster than the one they despise rooting for them without envy. Here's why this messes people up. Your enemies are waiting for you to compete, to try and outshine them, to stay silent when they succeed, to roll your eyes when others applaud them, to throw subtle shade masked as, "I'm just being honest." They expect your silence to speak your jealousy. So when you turn around and say, "Hey, that's dope. I'm genuinely happy for you," you short-circuit their entire mental framework. You remove the tension they were trying to build. You disrupt the game by refusing to play. And nothing confuses a petty person more than peace. Look, I'm not saying it's easy, it's not. It's psychological judo. You have to flip your own ego to the mat first, because deep down, let's admit it, it stings when someone who lied about you suddenly gets awarded. It burns when the person who tried to humiliate you gets praised by the same people who stayed silent for you. And it hurts when the one who tried to tear you down seems to be rising. But you know what hurts them even more? Seeing you rise above it. Watching you clap with a clean heart. Celebrating them like you were never supposed to still be standing. They don't know what to do with that energy. There was a guy I once worked with. We'll call him D. Same industry. Cool in person, friendly even. But behind the scenes, sabotage disguised as concern. He'd question my work ethic to mutual colleagues, casually insert doubt about my ideas in meetings. Later, I found out he was trying to edge me out of a collaboration opportunity I had rightfully earned. Fast forward 18 months, he gets a massive career break. One of the biggest brands in our field featured him. My ego wanted to scroll past it, maybe drop a LOL in a group chat, maybe write a cryptic tweet. Instead, I DM'd him and said, "Yo, huge win, happy for you. Keep going, man." No exclamation points, no fluff, just truth, clean and calm. He replied in less than 5 minutes. "Wow, I didn't expect that. Thanks, means a lot." That reply told me everything. He expected me to carry the same pettiness he projected. Instead, I chose something better: sovereignty over my spirit. 1, it breaks the cycle. Hatred usually thrives on reciprocity. You hate me, I hate you. You win, I sulk. I win, you shade me. But when you clap instead of compete, you create dissonance in their reality. You cut off the oxygen that feeds the fire. 2, it elevates your presence. Grown people don't just win fights, they outgrow them. When others see you clap for someone who hurt you, they don't see weakness. They see emotional mastery. 3, it reveals the truth to the room. Sometimes your enemies don't even deserve a rebuttal. They deserve exposure through contrast. Let the world see you celebrating while they still stew. The audience will figure out who's carrying the poison. Now let's address this. Isn't that fake? I'm not happy for them. Why would I pretend? Because sometimes you don't clap because they deserve it. You clap because you deserve to be free. It's not about celebrating their win. It's about releasing your resentment. It's about saying, I'm not letting this person live rent-free in my nervous system. I'm not bending my joy around your success. You don't have to throw a parade. You don't have to mean it in your bones. Just decide to lead with maturity instead of malice. And over time, you'll be shocked at how freeing it feels. At the soul level, this is what we're really doing. You're writing your own closure with applause. Not because they were right, not because they won, but because you're not losing sleep anymore. You're saying, "You don't hold space in my story anymore. I'm moving on, and I hope you win. But your win doesn't define my worth." That's not just healing, that's spiritual Aikido, and it's beautiful. Want to shake your enemy to their core? Be the last person they expect to clap when they win, and be the first one who does it anyway. Because in a world full of ego wars, applause from a former enemy says, "I'm bigger than the beef. I'm free from the grudge. I've already moved past this chapter." You don't lose power by celebrating others. You gain presence. And your peace? It becomes unshakable. 5. Keep their name out of your mouth. Here's how. Don't say their name. Not in private, not in public, not in interviews, captions, venting sessions, or podcasts where you accidentally throw subtle shade. Just silence. Dead silence. And that silence. It's the loudest, most elegant knife through the ego you'll ever wield. Your enemies crave relevance, not reconciliation, not growth, not peace. They want to live in your mouth, your mind, your message, your mission. They want to be your villain. Why? Because if they're your villain, it means they still matter. It means they left a dent. It means you haven't healed. So when you refuse to name them, you rob them of the oxygen they're desperately craving, and the part they really hate. You don't need to tell the world what they did to win. You're winning anyway. Let's be honest. We've all done it. That vague tweet, that strategically timed Instagram story, that funny not bitter podcast anecdote. You say you've moved on, but somehow they keep showing up in your sentences. You're not telling the story to heal, you're telling it to sting. But here's the trap. Every time you talk about them, you tether yourself to them. You keep pulling them into your timeline like spiritual clickbait. You're handing them free rent in your emotional penthouse suite, and then wondering why they keep showing up uninvited. Letting go doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It means choosing not to carry it into every room you walk into. There was a time I was dragged publicly by someone I trusted. No lies, just selective truths. Enough to cast shadows on my name in a very strategic way. People screenshot it, shared it, subtweeted it, and oh, I was ready. My notes app had a 7-paragraph, nuclear-level rebuttal sitting on standby. But I paused, slept on it, and then deleted it. Why? Because deep down, I knew any response would immortalize them, and I had work to do. Work that didn't require revenge, just results. So instead, I posted something entirely unrelated the next day. Smiling, creating, living. And you know what happened? They kept talking, and I kept building. Now, years later, that post, that moment, gone, forgotten, dust. But my silence, it aged like wine. Because I never fed the fire. And that fire eventually choked on its own. Let's be clear. When you ignore someone who tried to destroy you, you humiliate their ego. Here's why. They want the attention. Haters aren't looking for truth. They want a reaction. They want evidence they still live inside you. Denying them that is like cutting off their power supply. You rob them of narrative control. The second you address it, the story becomes yours versus theirs. But when you say nothing, you force people to judge you by your energy, not your explanation. Silence makes them look obsessed. If they keep talking and you don't, eventually people start asking, why are they still bringing this up? And boom, they become the bitter one. Let's get petty in a mature way, shall we? There's nothing funnier than when someone tries to provoke you publicly, and you act like they don't exist. Not with hate, not with fake zen, just pure, uninterested indifference. You post about your new project. You're out here traveling, thriving, healing. Meanwhile, they're trying to decipher your captions like it's a spiritual diss track. That's not silence. That's psychological warfare in Gucci slides. Here's what this really comes down to. Every time you speak someone's name from pain, not power, you keep them alive in your spirit. You can't evolve if you keep dragging old wounds into new rooms. You can't claim growth and still be hosting emotional TED Talks about a grudge from 2022. When you truly heal, you don't need to say their name to process the past. You just process it, then let it fade. And guess what? Real closure doesn't happen when you get the last word. It happens when you no longer need one. Want to make someone who tried to break you feel truly irrelevant? Don't slander them. Don't respond. Don't make a spectacle. Just keep their name out of your mouth like they never had that much power to begin with. Because they didn't. You just forgot for a moment. But now you remember who you are, where you're going, and why they no longer matter. Let's be real. You don't have to raise your voice to raise your value. You don't have to clap back to clap forward, and you don't have to destroy your enemies to defeat them. Just don't become one of them. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate power move is peace. Not that fake, performative peace. I'm talking about silent, boring, grown-ass peace. The kind that doesn't flinch, doesn't chase validation, doesn't need the world to see the receipts. Because when you're really evolving, you don't need revenge, you need receipts. The kind only consistency, character, and calm can produce. And trust me, when you hurt those who hate without lifting a finger, it's not just petty. It's spiritual warfare in slow motion. So the next time someone throws shade, lies, or plots behind your back, don't match it. Master it. If this resonated and you're hungry for more unfiltered, grounded insights on power, purpose, and how to move in silence while building loud results, make sure you're on my Sunday newsletter. I send it out once a week. No fluff, no BS, just real tools for real life. Link is in the description. Sign up, join the tribe. Let's grow together. And if you're a brand or creator who wants to collaborate on high-integrity, high-impact content, check the description for my email. Let's build something unforgettable. Until next time, be quiet, be kind, be dangerous. Much love. Stay sharp. We're just getting started.